one.
Let the energy build on a suddenly not so casual 7-point sharp Sunday, NFL Week 4. It is Sharps and Sports. It is Guns Picks. It is J Money's Money. Welcome to GPO Lock 2021 NFL Leaderboard Competition Show, picks, hype, analysis, and of course the love and respect we all need. It is Sunday, October 3rd, 2021. A beautiful, beautiful opportunity to dominate. J Money's Money. How are you feeling on this beautiful, suddenly not so casual 7-point sharp Sunday?
And feeling real good, man. What's up to you, Shark? Make sure y'all follow my guy on Twitter. What's up to you, Guns Picks? Everybody, man. Everybody in the chat on YouTube, Twitter. Appreciate the hell out of everybody for tuning in. We're just doing this, trying to spread the wealth, try to get some cash for everybody, man. So it's us against the bookies. What's up with you, Guns? Everything cool with you?
Man, everything's good. I'm on a 6-2 run last 2 weeks on the Dad Bods leaderboard, climbing up the charts. But, I still got a lot of work to do, especially catching up some of these top 4 guys. Man, Baz is just cleaning up here. But, the vibe in the room, I got to change this a little bit for you guys. I got to join you guys in this casual Sunday. I got to be part of the crew now. Woo! I'm ready to make some picks. I'm ready to make some plays. I'm ready to make some money. What do you got for us today, Shark?
Well, we're going straight business. We're going straight to Soldier Field, NFC North divisional battle. Top play for me in the early card, Chicago Bears -2.5. We talk about this all the time. Consistency to the inconsistency. What do people look at last week? What do people think? It will automatically repeat itself. Detroit last week should have won a game against Baltimore. A 66-yard, legendary, historical, off the upright, bouncing forward, opportunistic Justin Tucker game-winning field goal, a demoralizing loss, and a cover. Detroit comes in here off of that. I talk about psychology all the time. I will go into that for about 20 seconds. When you get the doors blown off of you and you get insulted to the max, your professionalism gets checked. You go back in the locker room as a team and you look at each other and you say, what the fuck are we doing? You come back jacked. When you play a great game, you cover against Lamar Jackson, you put your absolute best product on the field, and you still lose the game, and it's demoralizing, that sucks your soul out a little bit. That's hard to bounce back from. Now you travel in the division to a rival who comes in here off an absolutely pathetic effort at Cleveland, which we did have correctly last week, 26-6, Baker Mayfield and the boys. Justin Fields, his first career start, environmental shift, comes home, a little bit of adjustment here. And I bring you to week 2. Chicago Bears did lay a similar figure against Cincinnati. They did cover it. This game will be a defensive game. The last time they played in Soldier Field last year was 34-30. Of course, that was Matthew Stafford versus Mitchell Trubisky. But that was a 34-30, 64-point outcome. This comes in at 41.5. The total is telling you a good story. It's going to be a defensive battle. Then you look at Chicago's defense. They're going to do what they did in week 2 to Joe Burrow. They're up 20-3 in the fourth quarter. I don't think this game is as much on Justin Fields as people think. I think you're going to see a really slowed down, shitty game to watch. I think they get there by 3 or more. Chicago -2.5, top play of the day. Jay Money, comments or throw 2 guns?
Yeah, Guns, I want to know what you think about this. It's a toss-up game to me. It's nothing I even really have an opinion on. I can't talk you off. Obviously, the Lions are coming off a heartbreaker, so just interested to see how that happens. Fields is starting a little banged up, but hey, the Bears in win mode. Here, Guns, what you like? You got the blue shirt on. You ride with the Lions, or you agree with the Bears pick? Shark.
I do agree a little bit on Shark's take as far as, but what concerns me is Justin Fields is how he performed last week. He had 1 passing yard. And and they had 46 rushing yards. Their offense was absolutely terrible, abysmal. The defense is good. I just don't know who the Bears are yet with Justin Fields as behind center. And I know who the Lions are. The Lions have an abysmal defense. They can score points. I know Jared Goff can move the ball up the field. They've been better week to week, going from the Packers game where they played a great first half, bad second half, and then they played a great game enough to win, to beat the Ravens at home, and they just got beat on a fluke field goal. I don't know. It's a no play for me, but I understand where Shark's coming from on his take on this one.
Yeah, and let's segue to Guns' top pick in the Dad Bods leaderboard competition, GPO Lock Copper Collective. Follow them on Twitter. Guns, 4:25 p.m. The 3-0 Denver Broncos hosting Lamar Jackson off the aforementioned backdoor win at Detroit. Comments?
Yeah, I'm loving Denver on this one. It's my top play. People are downplaying who Denver is because of their schedule. They played the Giants, the Jaguars, and the Jets, but they dominated them like a good team's supposed to. They have a plus. They're really defensively playing at a high level. I mean, they're only giving up 59 yards per game on the ground, 162 in the pass. Granted, they're playing lower tier teams. They're plus 166 net yards. Baltimore coming off a dramatic win on the road, going to Denver, mile high, thin air. They're going to have to worry about Teddy covers. Teddy Bridgewater, he's got 73.7% completion rate, 8.7 yards per attempt, 4 touchdowns, and 0 picks. He's doing the job. I think with this defense and the injuries issues with Baltimore, they're having a very difficult time stopping the pass. I think Teddy Bridgewater kind of opens up the pass game in this game. And, Baltimore coming off dramatic win on the road, another road win. They could come out flat here. And people are just disrespecting Denver. Denver's a good team. They're going to be playing very high levels, and you're going to see that once they play better competition. So that's why I'm taking Denver in this spot. I think people are too high on what the Ravens have done the past 2 weeks, winning against Kansas City, winning against Detroit. I think this is a Denver play for me.
Yeah, and just quickly jumping off that, I think when you look at this again, people just the public side of this angle here is really just looking at Lamar Jackson and looking at long-term expectations and recent history in terms of playoff appearances. And people see Denver here at 3-0. They think it's fool's gold. Of course, Denver has not played a lot of teams. They are a little bit ambiguous at this point of the season. They see the Ravens coming in here off the Detroit spot. I was talking to Jay about this earlier in the week. We had some mild disagreement, but my side of this angle was the fact that I think if you kind of look at what's going on in the NFL this year with the elongated season, they do go an extra week into January. You do get a bit more of a tank zone, lack of motivation in early season for some of these teams that expect to be playing in deeper environments in January. I give you the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously 2 straight outright losses, 0-3 ATS. This team is clearly not firing on all cylinders, but I don't think that's necessarily a snapshot of them just falling off a cliff and being uncompetitive. I think it's a new environment in the NFL where early season, the better teams, the playoff teams, are coasting a la LeBron James in the early season, where they just do not turn up. That being said, I do think the sharp look would be Denver, purely on the number. Denver should not be laying points that open to this team. But they're just telling you that story, pretty much what I just said. So let's segue to my second play. Washington.
Oh, real quick. Can I say what I gotta say, man? And ladies, come on, bro. I think that Denver is the public side. Doesn't really matter who's on public or sharp. It matters about who's going to win the game. This is Denver's first test, in my opinion. If it was me, I would be on the Ravens here. Like I said, I don't think that that's necessarily the public side. If anything, the line was going towards the Broncos pretty much all week before it's starting to get some movement. Now Lamar Jackson's playing. He practiced. Like I say, this is one of those games where obviously Denver can win the game. They're at the house. That helps them. But Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, they've been teetering on the cusp of getting deeper into the playoffs pretty much every year. So even though they've gotten deeper into the playoffs, they still hadn't got over that hump. They do already have a loss this season. The Broncos riding high, hadn't been tested is my thing. It's not even necessarily they hadn't played anybody and really hadn't blown them out. They hadn't really been tested. And I also think the coaching advantage goes to the Ravens as well, my guys. So me personally, this is a coin flip game. I could see it going either way, but I do see the Broncos coming out of this one 3-1, my guys.
And that's why it is difficult to cap the NFL. There's always a great counterpoint you decide. Now I'm sitting here telling you it's the sharp side on Denver. And truthfully, I could make a great narrative point as to why Denver is fool's gold at 3-0 versus these bad teams. But let's segue to Washington at the Falcons, taking Washington -1.5. When we look at long-term trends, something that I definitely do not cap, but it's noteworthy here. Washington is 0-3 ATS, and they're 0-3 ATS in all different environments. I think this is their spot to get off the proverbial schneid here. Falcons come in here off of a road win last week, which we had correctly at +3 against the Giants. Falcons are not very good this year, to put it bluntly. The Falcons caught a Giants team last week who is purely not very good either. And I think what you saw last week with Washington obviously got the doors blown off them at Buffalo. That doesn't translate to a road game at the Falcons. And the last point on this, Falcons week 1, a good corollary for me is the Philadelphia travel point to Falcons at a similar figure. This is actually stronger for Washington. Philadelphia was a slight dog there. An outright win. Jalen Hurts and the boys really took care of business. I think our man Heineke is going to come in here. I think they win the game by at least 3 points here today. Guns?
Yeah, this could go either direction. This one, I don't know if I really trust the Washington offense at all. And people are really high on their defense, and I understand that. But I haven't really seen them play as well as they did last year on the defensive side. I know they have a good pass rush, but with the Falcons coming off a good win last week against an NFC East opponent in the Giants. I can really see a skid or them coming out flat against Washington here, but I think your take is accurate. If I would say anything, I'd probably lean Washington, but I'm just going to sit and watch this one because I want to see a little bit more from the offensive side for Washington. And actually, quite frankly, I want to see the Washington football team defense actually dominate someone. If they're going to dominate anyone, it might as well be the Falcons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't talk you off there. I lean Washington football team as well. Obviously, you're having to lay points on the road. This is the Falcons. I mean, they're coming off a big win as well. So the way I'm looking at it is, are the Falcons going to back up success with success, or are they going to come to the house and get smacked? So because it's one thing we can say, offensively, the Falcons got some. It's their defense that's trash, and obviously we got the Washington football team, which defense hadn't really been to the tier of it was last year, but their offense is trash. So it's like who's going to win, you know what I'm saying, against their weakness pretty much. So this actually could be one of those games where Washington, in theory, their offense should look good in theory versus Falcons' bad defense. So we'll see what happens here. It's a terrible game to watch, man. But somebody's got to win.
Yeah,
the only people be watching it are the people in my area here. So I know there's a bunch of football team fans around here.
This card pretty much today is defined by accessibility and the worst games to watch. And the best games to watch are going to be razor sharp. Let's segue to the second play from The Gun in Maryland from New England, as always mentioned on the Friday night college football show. Tune into that when you guys get a chance next Friday night. We will dominate. Panthers at Cowboys. 3-0 ATS Cowboys, 3-0 ATS Panthers. Somebody has to not cover. Who's it going to be, Guns?
Hey, I'm on Carolina here. I mean, it's fun. I'm getting them at +5 on the Dad Bods leaderboard here. Carolina's playing on it's long rest versus short rest. If you remember, Carolina is coming off a Thursday night football win versus the Texans, so they've had 10 days of rest to prepare for this game. And you have Dallas that's coming off a Monday night football domination of the Philadelphia Eagles, so they're coming into this game on short rest. If you want to follow the trends, I don't necessarily make these use trends as my reason for taking a pick. 1-6 against the spread in the last 7 after a Monday night football game. But, this is a different Dallas team. Strong offense, and their defense keeps getting better week to week. Carolina, not having Christian McCaffrey may hurt them a little bit, but Chuba Hubbard from Oklahoma State, shout out Pokes, is stepping in there. And if you look at his yards per carry, not too far off of what Christian McCaffrey has. Sam Darnold has actually excelled on the passing game too, 294 yards per game right now. And I mean, Dallas can kill you on the offense, but Carolina's defense gives up 45 yards per game on the ground, 146 in the pass. I think this is probably the best defense that Dallas has faced all year. I know everybody says, oh, Tampa's got a good defense. You check week to week, they give up so many yards on the pass. And I really think this is going to be a tough game for Dallas to come into on short rest to prepare for a really good Carolina defense. So I'll take the plus on this one and roll with the Carolina Panthers.
Jay, any comments here?
I must say it is a bit too many points for me to lay for the Cowboys. Like I could see them coming in here winning this game. I think it should be closer to 3 in my opinion. I can see them winning a coin toss type of game. Now we do have the Panthers coming in here undefeated that are the underdogs, so that is very telling in my opinion. The Cowboys, like I say, they've been having a lot of underperforming years. This year they have their quarterback back. Their defense isn't as bad. They actually have some dogs over there in Parsons and Diggs on the defensive side of the ball. Me personally, I can only look towards the Cowboys here. Obviously, Carolina without their best player in CMC. They're starting to have some injuries come through. I believe Moore might still be banged up at wide receiver. The best target for Sam Darnold over there. Like I say, Cowboys at the house. It is back-to-back games, but this team is starting to show me something. They look like they're not fucking around. I'm not betting against the Cowboys today.
Yeah, final comment from me. I would disagree with Guns here. I'm not playing it officially, but I would lean Cowboys. I think all things that Jay said are very accurate. And I do think the quality of Carolina's wins are less than the efforts we've seen from Dallas. And all the points really do connect. I think -4 laying to an undefeated team is pretty damn strong. I think they could win this game by 6. But Guns, best of luck on this opportunity on a beautiful 7-point Sunday. And let's segue out. My next play, we're playing a total. Let's see if we can get there on one of these totals. I've gotten backdoored twice in the last 2 really egregious spots. But I always say this: when a good idea goes awry, stick with it. I had the over last week, Seattle at Minnesota. They had close to 40 points at the half, and it went under, which is egregious. Shout out to my guy who knows a guy for getting very lucky there. I'll say it. I love him and I respect him. I'm going straight back to the streets. Minnesota hosting Cleveland, over 51.5. Buy low in all environments. Last week, as we discussed before, 26-6, Leatherhead throwback, physical football at home for Cleveland in what is not a divisional game, but definitely plays in a regional rivalry game. Now they go on the road. We talk about this all the time. Minnesota, a little bit deceiving. This is not the old NFC North just, throwing at each other, just battling. This is a totally different style of ball, really open, lacking defense. The last time these teams played was 4 years ago. It went under 51. The line's coming up. And I really like when you take the outside of the division element for both teams. Minnesota last year and again last week against Seattle should have probably gone over. They don't defend outside of the division at all. And Cleveland week 1 is a solid corollary for me at Kansas City, 33-29 over. I think Cleveland's going to come out here and pace it. I think Minnesota and Kirk Cousins will match over 51.5 for me, an official take. Guns?
Yeah, this is going to be a tough game. This is a sit and watch for me on this one. I think these two teams, I looked at the board on the side, and I guess it moved down to a pick. Vikings are playing real good football right now. Kirk Cousins is actually playing his best football that I've ever seen him play. I mean, he was absolutely electric versus Seattle last week. And then you have the Cleveland Browns. They're playing at a high level too, but they've played very low competition except for playing Kansas City, which they lost by like 4 or 5 points in week 1. I need to see a little bit more from the Browns team. I know they have a good defense. They can definitely pass rush. They can stuff the ball. They could actually hurry Kirk Cousins here. I do lean if any side. I just small lean is probably take the Browns on the road. But especially when you got Minnesota coming in way hot. But this Kirk Cousins, this offense. I know their defense has been struggling on the Minnesota side, so I'd probably just lean taking the Browns.
Yeah, Jay, anything?
Yeah, me personally, like it's written down. I had the Browns written down. Obviously, you are taking on the road now. They are 0-1 on the road. Now, that was against the Chiefs though, so
Right.
we don't really know how to read that. Obviously, the Chiefs were wanting to come to play in that game, but the Browns still covered. Now, like you say about Kirk Cousins, he is a lot better at the house. Like I'm always down to fade Kirk Cousins on the road. He is at the house. This is a tough game, but like I say, going up against that defense, I would lean towards taking the Browns defense over Kirk Cousins, simply put, at the house, even with his weapons, even with the Vikings looking good. Obviously, they're 1-2. They want to try to even up their season here. But me personally, I can only look Browns here. I believe they're favored on the road for a reason, my guys.
Yeah, and let's segue to New Orleans. New Orleans Saints hosting the New York Giants. I think it's another public special. The public seems to be heavy on the Saints. Not entirely surprising. Jameis Winston, a rebooted campaign down there. This is their first home game. Of course, the original home opener was rescheduled outside of their stadium in Jacksonville, where they did handle Green Bay in week 1. They come home here and face a Giants team that has traveled very well in the Daniel Jones Judge era. Guns, any comments on this one?
If there's any lean that I have on this one, it'd probably be taking the Giants. Especially if you get it at 7.5 or something like that. It's just over the football number. You never know what you're going to get out of New Orleans. I know they basically crushed and dominated the Patriots last week, but it wasn't from the offense. It was just from the defense. The defensive side is absolutely strong. I don't know what Jameis you're going to get week to week. You're going to get that guy that's just going to throw fluke INTs and get himself in trouble. Or you're going to see the Jameis that you saw against the Green Bay Packers. But listen, I if there's any take on this one, I think the public is going to be very heavy on the Saints in this one, and they're going to fade the Giants. But if you're getting the Giants at 7.5 or 8 or something like that, that's a good number to take on the plus. And who knows? Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, he may show up today and actually do something on the offensive side. But if there's any take I get on this one, you got to take the Giants on the plus.
Yeah, one final point. I'll throw it back to Jay. Last year, early season, the Giants did play a game at the Rams. They were on a similar figure, it was +9.5. They did cover it. They lost by 8 points. It was a really gross game. I think it was like 17-9 or something. I think you might see a similar game. Again, no comment officially from me on that, but I do think the Giants would be the sharp look here. Jay?
Yeah, I'd lean the dog as well. We see it open at Saints 8.5 down to 7, which is showing obviously plenty of sharp money when you're going to have a lot of public on the Saints here. Simply put, they could just be riding with the Saints, or they could just be simply fading the 0-3 Giants. Obviously, 0-3 team. At some point, if you want to try to save your season, I mean, the NFC East isn't totally shot. You still have a chance. I mean, it's a long season, especially even one more game this season. So, in theory, the way that I like to think is this 0-3 team should try to put everything they have into this game and try to win it to try to turn their season around. So
right.
I'm not betting it, but I'd be looking towards the Giants. Plus, like say, especially if you could get that hook, I could definitely see the Saints coming in here winning this game. But I always say it, by 3 to 4 points. They just want to win. They don't necessarily have to blow out or get the cover. They can win by 1 point, and it'll be perfectly fine with them. Always, first game at the house after 3 straight roadies, somewhat not necessarily a good spot. It's an environmental switch as well. I'd lean Giants plus the touchdown and hook, my guys.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I actually might sprinkle myself now that we're having a nice 3-way chat.
Yeah, not a bad little, maybe a little sprinkle on the money line just for fun, but the plus is the take.
That 3-game window on the road coming home off a long break, first home game in October. We saw this in college football. UAB yesterday came home, got slaughtered at home by Liberty as a short favorite. I think this translates very well for the Giants. I might sprinkle personally. Final 1 p.m. slate game we're going to discuss. We're going to throw out a couple of games that have just purely no angle. Dolphins, Colts. Obviously, it's going to be a tight game, but not really a lot of good angles there. And, of course, Bills laying 17 points to the Texans. I don't know what to say there. Lay 17 and pray, or take 17 and pray. We'll go Chiefs, Eagles, Bird Gang at home, coming in here off of an absolutely pathetic loss on Monday Night Football. Short week. However, you do get the Chiefs off 2 losses as well. Chiefs are 0-3 ATS, and the Eagles are 0-2 ATS last 2. Both teams come in here on losing positions. This is not exactly what we love to cap when both teams are moving in the same direction. Guns.
I mean, if there's any take on this one, you got to take the Eagles. I mean, the Chiefs can win games. They can't cover. I think this goes – you said they're 0-3 against the spread. This goes back to last year. They're like 1-13-1 against the spread or something like that. Some freaking crazy number. That is so crazy. And, you got basically Super Bowl hangover Chiefs right now. They're coming off a loss to the Super Bowl to the Tom Brady and the Bucs. They're playing like a Super Bowl hangover team right now. And I know the Eagles coming off a horrendous beating from the Cowboys. I usually like to take those teams because I think they're undervalued coming into the next week. And they're playing a Chiefs team that just can't cover. I think it's going to be closer than the numbers given you. So you got to be rolling with the Eagles or don't even take it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I said, this game for me is a total stay away. The line is short, though. These teams have not played in years. The last time they played, Alex Smith was quarterback. Patrick Mahomes has never played again against the Eagles in his career. He's never played in Philly. Again, it's a total unknown environment here. When you do look at this, though, this is a short figure for the Chiefs. Jalen Hurts, based on his own prognostication and the Eagles' projections here, should be at least plus 8.5. These point totals, the line, do tell a good story. It's a short line for a reason. I think it's going to be a tighter game than people think, but I'm personally unwilling to fade the Chiefs off of a losing streak. At some point, they're going to turn the switch, I think. I just don't know when it will be. And you go back to week 2, San Francisco did come in there on an equally short figure and cover at Philly 17-11 in a really gross game. I could see Kansas City scrapping together a cover here. Just not what I'm looking at. Jay?
Yeah, I think KC's going to smack them. It is a public side. Public sides cash sometimes. I've seen enough from this Eagles defense. They don't, in my opinion, they don't really have the defensive backs or the defensive pass defense to hang with this Chiefs team. I mean, obviously you can't just go off one game, but I mean, Hurts, he's not saying he's not ready to be an NFL quarterback, and this Chiefs defense isn't great, but they are coming in pissed. Andy Reid, they are coming in to play for their coach. This is another thing, guys. It's something that I always I'm starting to pay attention to now. When someone is about to hit a career mark, like in that game, and that's why I'm scared to bet the Patriots as well, because Tom Brady's going to make the passing yards mark, whatever. But Andy Reid's trying to win his 100th game or something like that. I'm pretty damn sure. So they lost the previous 2. Then there's kind of speculation that saying that he wants to come and do it in Philly. Andy Reid used to coach for the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's true.
This is a huge game for them. I think they come in here and smack them by at least 2 touchdowns. I'd like the Chiefs, and I'd find some type of way to put them in a 6-point teaser. I don't endorse money line parlays, but I mean it's basically the same thing, getting them down to -1 or putting the Kansas City Chiefs in the money line with something else, get you some plus money. I think the Chiefs definitely come in here and win this game. Whether they cover or not, obviously it's different, but I'd be looking towards the Chiefs here with the public to cash on the road off 2 straight losses. Andy Reid coming back to Philly looking for 100 straight win. He left the last game, went to the hospital, all that put together. I think the Chiefs smack up the Eagles this year. Hurts maybe he's not ready just yet, but obviously next year he'll be a lot better. But lean Chiefs here for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't disagree with either side. Let's go to the 4 o'clock slate. Cardinals at Rams. The Cardinals have lost 8 straight ball games to the Rams by over a touchdown. Will that stop today? Guns?
This is going to be a good game to watch. I don't know if I'm ready to put money on it. I thought Cardinals played flat in the first half against the Jaguars, and then they kind of figured themselves out. Murray, I don't think he played his best game last week on the road against the Jags. And then you have the Rams coming off a dramatic win versus Tom Brady and the Super Bowl champion Bucs. I mean, there's a lot of, highs, and, you could come out here flat versus a divisional opponent in the Cards. The line's sitting at what, like 4.5, something like that. If there's, this is a sit and watch for me. I don't really have a take on it. There may be a ton of points, if anything. I would think this is going to could be a potentially high scoring game. But this is a game of the week. This is one that you just want to watch. You don't even have to have any, pesos on this one. You can just watch this one. But yeah, I don't have any sort of side on this one. I just think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was looking at the line number. The 6.5 open, I thought was razor sharp. And most of the action I have seen across Twitter amongst sharps is absolutely on the Cardinals. I'm not sure if they're going back historically as far back as I went. Of course, in the NFL, 8 games, 4 seasons, different quarterbacks, different environments. But it does tell you a story when in the division, one team owns a team to that level for 8 straight games. The lowest outcome was 7 points. 7 points was the lowest. There have been a lot of blowouts. And Jay's been talking about this for the past few weeks. The thing that I do worry about in fading the Rams are just really in a unique environment here. Matthew Stafford has found it. He's playing really in the first time in his career in a really, really legitimate, well-coached defensive team that could make a run. Right. And we do see this in other sports, just totally outside of the box. When Kevin Garnett came off the Timberwolves and went to the Celtics and they won the title, it just reminds me of that to a certain degree, where a guy is absolutely shackled by an environment for a decade plus and then gets out of it. You don't fade them ATS because they don't regress to a lower average. They're just on it the whole season. And I think you could be seeing that with Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay here. I would probably lean the Rams to continue cleaning house here, but definitely not an official for me. Jay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, I mean, hey, the Stafford and McVay, those 2 offensive minds getting together is scary. It is. So, until they show that they're holding up, I wouldn't bet against them. Not necessarily I'm betting on them. They are coming off a huge game. There was a huge game for them beating the Bucs. I'm sure they went out and partied. Like, I'm heavy on watching a team come off a huge win. So I can see the Rams coming here and win this game by 3. My problem is the Cardinals are also 3-0, and this is also another game where you want to show some divisional opponent. The problem with the Cardinals is they should have probably lost to the Jaguars. Definitely shouldn't have covered. So what happens? You come out flat as hell. Jaguars up on you, like returning punts or touchdown, all type of shit. Now, what happens, guys, when you're coming in flat like that, you still have to come in and win the game. It's almost like you have to play 2 football games because you weren't up for it. Now you have to get up and go and blow these guys out. And that's not necessarily something I'm willing to bet on. Because like I say, they were looking towards the Rams. It's like, oh, okay, we got to come to play here. We're going to fuck around and lose. I don't like to be betting on them on the next week because it's almost like they had to play 2 games, in my opinion. So I'm not betting against the Rams. It was at 6. It's down to 4. I could see Rams winning by 3, to be honest with you. So like I say, I'm not betting this one. It's gonna be a damn good game to watch. Can't wait to watch it. But it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Absolutely. And we do see both sides. And there's a lot of sharp angles all over Twitter. You guys betting yourselves, take our information, put it to your use, but definitely not an official take on this one. Next one, 4:25 p.m. Packers Steelers. America's game of the week, a national broadcast game. Bars will be hyped all over the country to huge fan bases. Pittsburgh coming in here off 2 outright losses at home. Green Bay traveling home off a really incredible backdoor in the fourth quarter, under 30 seconds last week on Sunday Night Football by Aaron Rodgers. Will he come back? Will he do it again? Will they compete? Will the Steelers get off the mat? Will there be a corollary for Pittsburgh to week 1, plus 6.5 an outright win at Buffalo? Guns.
I had to go look at the injury report before I even made a decision on this one. And I had to see if TJ Watt was going to be playing, if he's all right. Looks like he's probable. Looks like he's going to be playing in this game. And that changes the whole aspect, because when he's in the defense, he's a game changer. He's a guy that can go in there and he can rush the quarterback, make him make bad decisions, or you just go and rough him up, sack him, hurry him. It's a whole different element when he's in there. The line's sitting at 6.5. I think that's a little bit short for a Steelers team that really hasn't played that well this year. Not at all. They've just been, I mean, they got buried. They basically got buried. You saw what happens when TJ Watt's not in the game when they played the Raiders a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, the offense opens up. They're shooting it down the field. They're making big plays. They're giving. I mean, the game's over at that point. So you had the Packers coming off a dramatic win. Aaron Rodgers with the ball with less than a minute. It doesn't matter how much time's left on the clock. He's going to at least get a field goal out of that one. I'm still not high on the Packers just based on their defense. I know Aaron Rodgers is an absolute machine. I think this could be a potential flat spot for him coming off a Sunday Night Football win. As long as Watt's playing and he's healthy and he looks good, I mean, I could lean Steelers here.
Yeah, I go back to week 1, and again, we're in a small sample here. 3 games is not telling us a great story. 2 home games the last 2 weeks, divisional and non-divisional, tell us a reasonable story, because we talk about this all the time. Teams function differently in and outside of the division. When you get outclassed and beat down by Cincinnati at home last week, that told me a story. I said it on the air last week. We will know who Pittsburgh is after today. Mm-hmm. They showed us how weak they really are. Big Ben has been sketchy at best, very inconsistent, inaccurate, uncomfortable in the pocket. They have not looked very good. Even the week 1 cover, they did get a special teams touchdown in the fourth quarter to really backdoor that. The whole game flow came in the fourth quarter. I don't know if 1 quarter of football really incited by a special teams touchdowns translate to 17 games ATS. Packers last year were solid to above average outside of the division at home. I think the look here for me would probably be Packers, but I'm not going official with this one by any means. Jay?
No. Exactly. Yeah, I'm staying far away from this one. Obviously, you got Green Bay starting to look good. Now 2 straight wins off their first loss. The exact opposite for the Steelers. So it's kind of crazy. Like me personally, I'd probably be looking towards Steelers. I'm with you though. Big Ben has looked cooked. I said it before. They might need to try to go and get Cam Newton, at least just to be the backup, or to scare Ben into trying to be better. Something. They're going to need a backup quarterback. I don't think he'll make it out. I mean, you guys see that play where he was trying to throw the ball and he just tripped over his own foot. Like, what are we doing, bro? This guy look washed. And I think Brady's going to get there pretty soon as well. He's not too far from there. These guys are old, man. This is the NFL. Like, what are we doing here? Like, see, I'm already starting to feel old. I'm only 29, bro. These guys are fucking 40-something. But me personally, I'm not betting this game, man. I do think that Green Bay could possibly have a letdown. It's all about the Steelers. Are they pissed off from getting smacked by the Bengals, getting smacked pretty much 2 weeks in a row after looking really good week 1? So in theory, I'd like to think that the Steelers will be here, and it's somewhat of a trap line, right? Why is the Green Bay at least favorite 7.5, 8? Right. The 6.5, I always think that's kind of a trap line. People thinking, oh, it's right up under a touchdown. Well, let's take this. Like, football with me is all about numbers. Like I said, when you got that home team, the -3, it goes down. The -3 period, they're letting you know that it's even teams. If it goes down to 2.5, they're really letting you know that the away teams really gonna win. The home teams, they're laying 6.5. They're kind of trying to get you to take that shit because it's right up under a touchdown. So that's just the way I'm looking at it. I'm not betting that shit, man.
Also, you got to look at the wide receivers too. I'm a little bit concerned about the wide receiver core because Juju Smith-Schuster is out, Chase Claypool is out. Who are they going to throw to? That could be another key element. Are they going to just kind of focus on the run with Najee Harris and try
under?
And so maybe lean on the under. I don't know what the weather's like there, but Steelers and the Patriots are going to be true under teams this year. So I would take them. I would never take an over with any of those teams.
Yeah, for sure. And let's segue 4 or 5 p.m. divisional battle, NFC West, 49ers hosting the Seahawks. Official play for me, highly graded play. 49ers -2.5, -3 in the competition. It has gone down to 2.5. Just booked that in the last hour. I'm looking at one specific dynamic. We talk about this in the NBA all the time because you get 2, 3, 4 matchups per year with teams. In the second, third matchup, you can really look at the line environment and see how it cross-references with the previous game. The only time you get legitimate data in the NFL are divisional games. You get 8 games every 4 years versus 1 game outside of the division versus these opponent types. You are data efficient within the division. We go back to last year. 49ers were 0-2 straight up and 0-2 ATS against Seattle Seahawks. Seattle actually laid 4 points in San Francisco. This opens at 3. This moves 7. And I will say this because people will always say, yes, it was Nick Mullins at quarterback. I know. It's built into the line. If Jimmy Garoppolo was not supposed to really turn up here, it would still be Seattle -1. They're telling you this is a massive environmental shift towards San Francisco in a double revenge game. Further, you get home game 2 environments, which I always talk about. Home game 1 for San Francisco, outright loss, non-cover. Came out really flat in the game off of 2 road games to start the season. Tried to backdoor. We're up 28-27 late fourth and got backdoor. Now they get to hang out all week. They get comfortable. Home game 2, they come back. Divisional double revenge game. Line shifts towards it. -2.5, -3. Top play for me. San Francisco, -2.5. Guns, tell them why I'm wrong.
I'm on Seattle here. This is my 1 unit play. Every time a team comes off a road loss, goes into the next week for second game on the road, and is a small dog, I just take them every time. It seems like those teams come up in the second road after what was a bad road loss for Seattle. I know they have had their issues on the defensive side, but Russell Wilson absolutely dominates the San Francisco 49ers. I think they've won straight up 11 out of the last 13 or something like that with Seattle. I know this is a different Seattle team, but I like the spot here at +3. I'm not sure if I trust the 49ers after what I saw last week. They had the win. And the coaching on that one, scoring that with time left on the clock, giving Aaron Rodgers another shot. I don't know. I thought they should have got blown out. San Francisco did a good job coming back, but I thought they deserved to lose that game. And I don't think they're going to come in too hot versus a divisional opponent that absolutely runs them year after year after year. So I'm going to be going with Seattle +3.
Jay?
Could possibly be a letdown spot as well. I always talk about, so when you could spend, it's obviously they're going to come and win here. But when you're coming off, when you're like, you had the game, right? Then you left Aaron Rodgers a little bit too much time, and then they go and steal the game from you. It's kind of like you're up and then you're down. You see what I'm saying? So it's sometimes it can be tough to come back from there. You could either come in super pissed, or you could still be down on yourself saying, "Oh, damn, we should be undefeated." You know what I'm saying? We should have lost that game. But it's back-to-back games at the house. I understand what my guy Shark is saying. When you lose that first, so these two teams, and I said it last week, 49ers started off the first couple of weeks on the road, and they didn't come back at home either. They stayed out in the East. They came back to the house. Didn't play terribly. Obviously, they didn't start out good, but they actually start to pick it up there. So I must say, Shark, if they play like they played in the second half, they could possibly win this game. It's just me personally, when you look on the other side, you have the Seahawks that are off 2 straight losses. They have a Thursday night game up against the Rams as well. So they are on a short week. So, I guess they could be in 49ers' favor. They could possibly in theory looking towards the Rams, but you're coming off 2 straight losses, right? You're 1-2 to start the season, and the Seahawks have high aspirations this season. In my opinion, if they really want to get somewhere, want to make the playoffs, I don't think that the Seahawks will go 1-3. So I'm not making a play on this game. If I had to play it, I'd be on the Seahawks. The line was at +3. This is another one where it's come down from -3 to 2.5.
Yep.
Me personally, especially just football period, my football thinking, that would tell me to take the Seahawks. They're off a couple of straight losses. I think that they're the team that's going to bounce back as far as other than the team in the 49ers. And to be honest with you, quite frank, I'm not a fan. I'm not sold on Jimmy G whatsoever. I don't think he's a starting quarterback in this league. Backup at best. If I'm the 49ers, you might want to get Lance in there, get him comfortable. He's the future. Jimmy G is, I don't know if he's not coming back right from the injury, but I don't see him as a starting quarterback right now. I believe we saw it last week as well. Be interested to see what the Seahawks defense does. The Seahawks defense comes to play, they'll win the game. If not, and they'll let Jimmy G look like Tom Brady, the second coming of Tom Brady, they'll lose. Pretty much that simple. But yeah, Seahawks are nothing for me in this one. Let's talk about the Sunday night game.
Let me just make one closing point here. I like to look at schedule construction and reasoning behind outcomes and losses. If you go through Seattle, they did clean up the Colts on the road in week 1. I think people thought the Colts were slightly better than they were. It was a 28-16 game. The Colts are now 0-3. Okay. So Seattle has beaten an 0-3 team. They've also lost to Kirk Cousins by double digits, and they also lost at home to the Titans. So they beat an 0-3 team, and then they lost 2 games to middle ground to potentially fringe playoff teams. San Francisco opened the season on the road against 2 bad teams, but again, tough travels. When San Francisco covers at Philly in a back-to-back road sequence on a short line and then comes home, again, in a tough spot, people forget. Maybe they don't, but I'll say it anyway. Green Bay went to the NFC Championship game last year. So when you're up 28-27 in the fourth quarter with 30 seconds to go against the an NFC champion team, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad loss. So now you get the bounce back, and I think Seattle's quality is not what it was in 2015. I think it's fool's gold. And again, top play for me, -2.5. But we love to discuss because conversation always wins, and I respect the hell out of both of you guys. Final game on the card, the game of the day, the game of probably the last 5 years from any sort of entertainment quotient standpoint. Tom Brady returns to New England, 8 p.m. NBC Sports. Guns picks. How you feeling about this one?
I'm more focused on the total on this one than anything. I think, if you're gonna take a side on this one, I would wait till game time. I think this number could get up to 8.5 or something like that, and then you could probably take a stab at the Patriots. But I don't know what Tom Brady is going to come out here. The one that's going to put his foot on your throat, or is it going to be kind of a strategic game from Bill Belichick? I think the look on here is to look at the under. Like I said before, Patriots are an under team. I think this plays into both of their strengths and weaknesses as far as offensive and defensive concern. Tampa's going to want to pass the ball, and you have a Patriots defense that's ranked second in defensive pass efficiency. And then you have the Tampa Bay Bucks that control the run. They're one of the top rushing defenses in the league, and that's what the Patriots like to do. They like to move the ball with the run and control the clock. And also you got to look at the factor that Gronkowski is out, so that release valve for Tampa is, his safety net is gone. I know they still have a huge receiver core. I get that, but I think with this Patriots defense, he's going to have his struggles. And I'm looking at this more of Bill Belichick trying to keep Tom Brady on the field, try to control the clock, time of possession, and it's going to stay under the number. I got it at under 49. I think that's probably the take on this one, is to look at the total, not the side.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with you. I think the under is a good look. The game's very, very difficult to predict. As you said, Tom Brady coming in there emotionally, is he going to turn up and really want to beat the hell out of them, which would probably be the natural lean? Or is it going to be sort of like, like the first time he plays in Gillette Stadium as an opponent? It's weird. It could go either way, really. There's definitely that element where he goes back there and it's just a weird feeling, because they're going to praise him. They're going to give him all sorts of, shower in the pregame, so that, take the edge off a little bit. Patriots obviously had the look-ahead spot last week, got absolutely shelled at home against the Saints. And, of course, the Bucs also had the look-ahead spot, lost, and played a really pathetic game against the Rams. So, again, this is where it's difficult to predict. Both teams clearly were looking ahead last week and tanked. They both should come up. 6.5 seems like a sharp figure. Definitely nothing official for me. I will have beers flowing, and it will be a great game to watch. Cheers up, fears down. Jay, comments?
Yeah, sharp take for me here, guys. I don't think that a lot of people think Bucks de facto into the NFC championship once again. I don't think so. I think I think his time has come. I think this is his last year. And I also think that now this is the problem. Why this game is Patriots or nothing for me. They're a home dog, and I talked to you guys. My local is even bumping it up to 8.5. So I definitely would only be on the Patriots at the house. And I like to think that that Belichick wants to come in here and show, like Brady wants to come in here and show the Patriots up, right? He even said it in the press conference. They know him about to come in there and kick their ass. Now, Belichick, he's not going to say anything, right? He wants to show, hey, look, I taught this guy different than everything he knows. Like, it was me as well. It wasn't just Brady. I think he's going to have something to say as well. They're their home team getting points. My problem here is Brady is like, he only needs 68 yards to pass up Drew Brees, in my opinion, if I'm not mistaken, for the passing record. And I hate to bet against someone, especially someone like Tom Brady, which they've I mean, I'll just come out and say they've cheated for him a lot. So you know what I'm saying? The fact that he's gonna get the record today, usually it's like Curry, right? When he was finna break the record or something, you want to take them that game because it's just gonna be their type of game. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not betting against the Bucs here. I do think, me personally, I feel like they'll come in here and win this game by 3 or 4 points. That's what I see. Part of the everybody's betting them. I'm talking about, I think it's going to be easy. So I think the Bucs come in here and get a win, a much-needed win. But I must say, I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see the Patriots pull the upset. The Bucs, they're a lot older. They do get Antonio Brown back, but they have some questions as far as their pass defense. So call me crazy. I'm not a fan of Mac Jones whatsoever. I can see him trying to raise his game today going up against Tom Brady. It will feel weird for Tom Brady coming in out of the visitor locker room for the first time. You see what I'm saying? So it's going to be a huge game. It's going to be rocking. I'm hearing it's going to be rain as well during the game, Gun. So that really bodes well for the under. This is going to be a really good game. I can't wait to see it. I'd be on the under here, and I must say, it's Patriots or nothing for me here. Bucs are definitely the square side, and like I say, it'll probably go to 7.5. I'd be looking at the Patriots with that hook to lose this game by 3 or 4 points, and I'm definitely seeing it be a defensive type game as long as the Patriots can bring their pack, because they have a really good pass defense, right? So they got to stop Brady from going bunkers on them with Brown, with Evans, Godwin. You see what I'm saying? So it's a tough game. I can't wait to watch it, but especially with the weather, I do think this game is going under. And I also think Mac Jones has been trash so far. I think he'll raise his game. So you know what, Brady? I'll come to step in and fill in your shoes. So I can't wait to watch this game, guys.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. I am absolutely looking forward to it. And, taking out, obviously, the capping aspect out of it, we talk about this in the NBA all the time. Sometimes it is very nice to be a fan of the sport. And that's going to wrap up all of our commentary on that. My official plays: Washington -1.5, San Francisco -2.5, over 51.5, Cleveland at Minnesota outside of division, track meet special, and the Chicago Bears coming home off of the worst performance in NFL history by Justin Fields. We buy him for a bounce back, and we fade the Lions -2.5. Guns, top 4 officials, please.
So we at the top 4 right now, we have Baz. My guy knows a guy. Bet with the champ and Namin. Only a 2-point separation between 1 and 4. The picks from them. So we got Baz coming in with the New York Football Giants +7.5. We did touch on that game. The LA Rams, the Indiana Miami over 42.5, and the Seattle Seahawks +3 as his top 4 plays from the leader on the leaderboard. Bet with the champ coming in with Seattle as well. Chicago -2.5, LA Rams -4.5, and you have the Browns. Nami coming in with Tampa, Chicago, Las Vegas, and Tennessee -7. The top selection is Seattle with 13 selections on the leaderboard. Washington coming in second with 8 selections. Tampa actually coming in with 8 selections, so that's a popular pick too. And you have Cleveland coming in at 4th with 8 selections as well. So that is the wrap-up of the leaderboard from the Cappers Collective, powered by. So it's going to be a good day of football, I think, here. And I'm looking forward to it. I know we're on different sides on a couple of these picks, but we'll see how it goes. And I'm hoping to sweep.
Yeah, and signing off myself, 11:33 a.m. Eastern. Shout out to you guys on the West Coast, waking up at 8 in the morning to watch us. We appreciate the hell out of you guys. We appreciate everybody who watches. Drop some retweets and likes, not because we're trying to feed our ego. We want to bring more people into the conversation, the chat, make you guys better. We love to do it. We respect the hell out of you guys. Thanks for listening. NFL Week 4 chat leaderboard in the books. J Money is money. My man, the legend himself. Close him out.
Appreciate everybody for watching, my guys. I'm the host, J Money. Go and follow me on Twitter at J Money is Money. Go and follow my guy at Shark and Sports and Guns Picks as well at Guns Picks. We appreciate everybody for coming and tuning in, whether you're on Twitter, when you're on YouTube. Hit the like button, subscribe, retweet, all that stuff, my guys. Post your plays in the comments as well after the game. Appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Hit the like button, and we out, my guys. Hope you guys cash every single play. It's us against the bookies. Let's break those bags, my guys. Cash out.
Peace.